So if you think about it, the Anthony Edwards versus Luka Doncic conversation, comparison, whole dynamic, that's going to become more of a thing. And it's kind of happening already now with them having just played each other in the first round of the playoffs. The Timberwolves beat the Lakers. Anthony Edwards outplayed Luka. He outplayed LeBron, clearly the best player in that series. But I think, especially with Luka on the Lakers and seeing what they're going to do building around him over the next few years and post LeBron, Luka versus Ant is really about to become a serious thing that we're going to have to unpack. I heard Kendrick Perkins mention this on ESPN. Anthony Edwards as a member of Team USA last year, playing in the Paris Olympics as the young upcoming star who obviously contributed to that team greatly. But the main story around that team was LeBron, KD, Steph, their last go round together, still elite, still able to carry us to a gold medal, right? Anthony Edwards, for all his bravado, for all his willingness to compete against his childhood idol in Kevin Durant, who he is not shy about letting people know that that was his idol, but at the same time going at him and talking trash to him, having that respect, but also that confidence at the same time, being open about the fact that he's learning from Steph Curry while he's at the Olympics. He's learning and picking up from Kevin Durant and LeBron James. He's enjoying this time of playing with them, learning from them, being around them. But then so he can come back to the NBA and show what he's learned, what he can do now to counter them and take them out. It's a both and. He's got the respect, but he's also got the competitive bravado to be like, yo, you guys still have to deal with me. I'm the guy that's coming now. I think that's an interesting thing to think about when you consider Luka doesn't really do or have any of that. Like, I think about when Luka started out in Dallas. I think it was just the 1 year, his rookie year, when he got to play with Dirk, because it was Dirk's last year. I'm sure they formed, like, Dirk even supports him to this day. He showed up at his first Laker game. Like, they clearly developed a kind of respect and bond. But I don't know if Luka has been able to, and I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying he's actively not doing this. It may just be a product of how good he was just right away. But it feels like Luka was already, we were putting him, and he was probably putting himself, rightfully so, up on the upper echelon of the LeBrons, the KDs, the Stephs. Like, it feels like he was already there in a short time, obviously without having won anything yet, but just from an individual talent standpoint, it didn't feel like, and again, I'm not saying that Luka has refused mentorship from guys. I'm not saying that he thinks of himself as above other guys, but just think about this. Like, Luka became so good so quickly, top 5 guy in the league, who, I mean, it seemed like just like that. He's one of the best players in the league, just like that. So it's like we almost put him up there already with these other guys, LeBron and KD and Steph, and even like guys like James Harden at the time, you know, who has been prolific, and we're like, no, like Luka's like, no, Luka's better than him. Luka can do more than him. You know, he's taller, just a little craftier. Like, people were ready to take Luka over Harden, it seems like, you know, pretty quickly. And it felt like maybe you could win with a Luka, even though Luka and Harden have similarities. It was starting to feel like Luka's just a little more prolific, maybe just a better chance to win with a guy like him because of just how prolific he is. Probably it looks like maybe even more than what James Harden was doing in his best years, you know, obviously in Houston. But I just think that's an important thing to consider. I feel like Anthony Edwards is a little more tuned into learning from his peers, his elders, his mentors, while still going at them. I just feel like he's more of, and I don't know if it's just a domestic versus international thing. There may be some of it there, but I think Ant has just had an opportunity, more of an opportunity and a willingness to connect with these NBA stars, current and older. And I think the Olympics gave him just a hands-on experience of actually getting to be around those guys and pick things up and bring it back to Minnesota and be like, all right, now I'm about to work on my 3-point shot. I saw what Steph does in his routine. I see how he's been shooting. I picked up some things from him, picked up some mentality things, some conditioning things from LeBron, some scoring reads from KD. Like, he seems to be a true student and sponge, even though, look, say what you want about his romantic life, all the kids he got, his personality, him being open and brash and vocal and stuff. Him, like, when he tells us he doesn't want to be the face of the league, he's telling us the truth, because even clips of him talking to fans in the crowd during the game, talking about how much money he's making, how much money this guy is making. Like, he is truly unique. He is a unique personality. And when he tells us that he doesn't want to be the face of the league based on just his behavior, not that he's doing anything like malicious or severe, or they're just things that if you were campaigning to be the face of the league, you wouldn't be doing if you're Anthony Edwards, when you have a legit chance to be the face of the league. But when he tells us he doesn't want it, he's telling the truth based on how he carries himself. Which again is not like bad or malicious or anything. It's just that he is super silly, super himself, not trying to water down or tamper down for anything, especially for a role like face of the league. He's clearly not interested. He just wants to hoop and compete and be himself. Now, like I've said, I mean, if he were to win a championship, even if he goes to the finals with the Timberwolves, like, he won't have a choice. I mean, he's already kind of one of the faces of the league, which I think right now that's where we are, where there are many faces, but he has a chance to be the face. If he were to earn the success, he won't have a choice. But I just think it's interesting how, like, Luka, I don't have their ages in front of me. I think Luka might be like a couple years older, maybe 2 or 3 years older than Ant. But even when you look at play styles, like, now people are acknowledging, like, hey, Ant Edwards probably will be a better all-around player than Luka Doncic. And I feel like that's an obvious thing when you look at the athleticism, the defense, things that Ant can do at a high level that Luka just hasn't shown he can do. We know how prolific he is offensively. Anthony Edwards is prolific offensively too, but then he's giving you athleticism, playmaking, and his defense. Those are basketball traits that automatically set him apart from Luka Doncic. And I just think it's interesting. Like, Anthony Edwards is going to keep progressing, keep developing, keep learning. I think his experience at the Olympics is very telling as to the fact that he doesn't feel like he's arrived yet. When you think about Anthony Edwards and his temperament and his willingness to learn, to study, to pick up things from guys, I don't think we've seen that same kind of willingness from Luka. It feels like he just became like a superstar, one of the upper echelon guys. I don't want to say too fast, but it happened so quickly. It's almost like he didn't have a chance to be that, like, young, hungry, I'm coming for you guys. Like, I mean, he's had some of that. And, he's obviously competitive and fiery. And I'm not saying that he would need to start talking trash and getting physical like Anthony Edwards does. But I just feel like thinking about the dynamic of Ant coming up versus Luka coming up. Luka's come up just feels like it happened so quick. And right away, he just became one of the top tier guys. And that kind of, I don't know, it's like right away now we're thinking like when is Luka going to win a title? Is he going to be the best player on a championship team? Can he lead a team to a championship? And part of that, again, is because he is that good. He is so good. He did lead Dallas to the finals. He has been to the conference finals. He is that prolific. He is that good. And I think, we're talking more about his deficiencies and stuff because they're so glaring, and because Dallas traded him infamously because of those deficiencies and flaws and what have you. That now I just feel like there was so much for Luka to have to prove. I feel like he has to know that, but more importantly, he has to feel that. So it's going to be interesting what kind of accountability he takes to counter, listen, the league is young, athletic, versatile. And that's become some of the kryptonite for Luka Doncic. He goes up against a team like Minnesota, like Boston, that has smart, long, athletic wings that can bother him and disrupt the things he wants to do. That has kind of become his kryptonite. So, realizing that more, even for Luka, like, if you're honest about it, like, realizing that more, it's just, and part of, again, the roster has to be built around him. It's got to be a certain kind of roster to really help, maybe even mask some of his deficiencies. The Warriors have done it well with Steph Curry. But yeah, I just think Luka has something really, really important to prove here. And I think Anthony Edwards plays and carries himself more over the years. He's been carrying himself more as somebody with something to prove. Luka has felt more like, hey, I'm already one of the top guys. You all know it. You wouldn't all dare challenge me on it, because I will come into your place and go for 40, 10, and 10. And then what are you going to say? And I'll be screaming at fans. I'll be talking trash to your bench. So what are you going to say to me? And I feel like that kind of almost entitlement, a little bit of arrogance, I think that has kind of worked against Luka in a way, because he hasn't had a chance to be the sponge and learning from the mentors and the veterans in the league. It's like he became that so quickly that I think he lost out on that opportunity and wasn't able to really embrace being a hunter. And very quickly, I think he became the hunted. And when you look at Anthony Edwards, from his mentality to his play style to what Minnesota has been doing to rework and retool the roster around him, Anthony Edwards might, over the next few years, even now, it might have to be more of a thing that we're admitting and talking about, the fact that he is past Luka. Anthony Edwards is past Luka at this point. We'll see what he does in this playoff run. But all things considered, based on what we just saw in that playoff series, again, Luka was playing his way into shape the last couple months, recovering emotionally from being traded. So in fairness, I'm giving him that. I think he has to still get used to even being a Laker and being the face of the Lakers and what that even means. So let's give Luka some more time. But Ant is in the same place. I don't think they're trading him anytime soon. He's going to keep developing and progressing. So I just think the temperament and the journey for Anthony Edwards versus Luka has been favoring Ant over the next, and I think over the next few years, we're going to see the result of that. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to Basketball Society right here on YouTube for more episodes and basketball conversations.